Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome, good evening. So we're really excited today at Teamup to be introducing our flagship program called Founder. It's an initiative that offers women leadership programs to women entrepreneurs or women aspiring to lead amazing careers in their lives. Founder aims to infuse this program to a community of women in universities, offices, and startup founders. Building a pipeline of women leaders from the classroom and into the new tech world that we have. I am very, very excited and honored to have Dianna over here with us today from Croatia all the way. And she's a very dear friend, and she's done amazing work in her field so far. So I'm really happy that today she will be sharing some of her learnings and a bit about her program with us. Dianna is the founder of MAMFORCE. She'll be telling you more about that, but it is basically a unique method that helps companies to create corporate culture based on inclusion, diversity, openness, and trust. I'll let you take the floor, Dianna, and talk a bit about yourself and, of course, help our audiences know what hold women back in workforces and other areas in life. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Cynia, and hello everyone. Thank you for inviting me, and I'm really happy to have this opportunity to share a bit of my knowledge and experience with your community. And as Cynia really did a great introduction, I don't know what else to add. I'm in women issues. I rather call it women issues, not gender equality issues, because I started to work out from my own struggle with the MAMFORCE, which is a change of the corporate cultures for the better work-life balance and the better position of women in the workplace. Because I actually, as a very ambitious woman, started to struggle when I got my second son. Until then, I did not have any problems, and I did not feel any differences. But somehow it started to emerge. A little bit about me. Maybe I have a corporate career. I've been working for almost 10 years in pharmaceuticals, in marketing and communications, and later on I opened my public relation company. And since I'm a psychologist by my primary education, but I was never working in the field, 10 years ago I wanted to go closer to that what I have studied, and to combine my later business education and a good psychology education and the business experience from business, to combine in something what is nowadays consultancy in actually very wide. It is organizational development, but also I work a lot with female entrepreneurs. Because through my work with organizations, what I figured out that it is not enough to work only with organizations on the change of the corporate cultures, but it is important to work with the women to encourage them to really take bold steps for themselves, and to be more ambitious with their careers, and to utilize the education they have, because today we have worldwide, we have everywhere more educated women than men, because girls are simply the better students. It is like that, but in a workforce we still do not have such situation because of many reasons, which I will guide you today very shortly through them, and we can continue our discussion later. So I wrote some books and articles and everything. Can you hear me?
Sorry, Dianna, before you begin, I just wanted to add that for the participants here, especially that we're going to keep this session or this webinar very interactive. So Dianna in her own presentation has some quizzes or some questions to ask you. So you have the access of typing in questions and interacting with us. So you can do that during the session. And if you have any questions, just pop them over there. And at the end of the session, we'll do an interactive Q&A as well. So that's all I wanted to say. You can continue now.
Thank you, Cynia. And I will start with my presentation. It's the main question is of our today time together is what holds women back. And to start with, actually, I will ask you to go to Slido, as it is already written in the chat, as I can see, to go to Slido and press the event code number, which is you just type in Slido and hashtag 36497. And there you will have a list of questions of which are the 3 challenges you most often encounter as a woman. I'm curious to see the results that we can proceed. I can even share the results which we will have. Just a sec. So for now we have one answer. Maybe I will pause the share. I'm waiting. So maybe for those who just joined, there is a Slido, there is you should go to Slido, just Google it, Slido, and then enter the hashtag and event number 36497. So Slido 36497. I do not see who answered what, so please just choose your answers. So 4 answered so far. 5, 6, great. 7.
Amit, maybe you can also share this in our Facebook Live section so that people joining in from there can also
Okay, we have 9 answers so far. Thank you all. We have 10. So I will give like a few seconds more and then we will see the results. Okay. So just to give you perspective, so we remained like firmly the biggest challenge for the most of you is I put other people's needs in front of mine, which is, I would say, very typical for women. Then I'm stressed, which is a nowadays problem. Then I'm afraid and money is tight, which is also very common. Then my family is not supportive, my colleagues are not supportive, I don't have courage to pursue my dreams, health problems, and I'm not visible enough. It's very interesting, because what I would like to talk with you, I would like to talk about with you with the courage and the visibility. So we will remain this open, so we can always come back to this later on. And let me continue with our challenges. So speaking about the challenges, the usual challenges are these which you had in a questionnaire, but there is always that question about how supportive is my family and how supportive is my partner, if we have a partner, and my kids and family, wider family, or do I have a life partner or not. So these are all the problems which usually are very common for the women in the workforce. And what actually pop us as a problem, which is not very loudly spoken, is that I usually don't stand out enough in the working environment. It is that, you know, power talk, and it is that how visible I am, and that I behave small. Just to give you some perspective, I would maybe to visualize that, it is when you are on the conference, and when it is a topic which is relevant for you and for your career, just ask yourself how many times you actually raise your hand and talk at the conference. Also in the meetings at the workplace, you know, how many times would you really step out and say what you really think about something, or would you rather stick to the opinion to others, even though you do not agree with the majority. So here is the one song from my upbringing, which is titled Like a Warning, which talks about how important it is not to walk small under the stars. And it says that may your whole body be filled with the dim light of the stars, to have no regrets when with the last glances you part with the stars. In your final hour, instead of dust, pass whole to the stars. So this is the very popular song in my country, and what I've been raised with it, and even with that, and even I've been raised in a full equality. When I entered the workforce and my professional life, after all education which I had and all courage I had, I later on actually realized that I was not courageous enough, that I was behaving that I do not behave small. And then I was thinking, okay, if it was happening to me, who was very confident, what's with other women who were raised in a totally different way? So what I realized by reading the literature and by talking with other women, I realized that women always have tons of self-doubt, that they live with the self-doubt constantly. And there is one very typical example. If there is one, it says here executive director job, but it does not have to be the executive director job. It can be any career opportunity you can imagine that is very important for you and for you aspire for. So the typical doubts which women would have are: I'm still not ready. I need 2 more years of work experience in the field. My knowledge is still not on a level. I have to finish my PhD before I go for that opportunity. I should have a birth before promotion, and the number of questions. And you probably know that there is, like, when there is a job posting, that women will not apply unless they are 100% qualified for according to the job description, while our colleagues men usually don't have such a problem. They would apply even if they satisfy only 60% of the job description. So there is that self-doubt, which is our main enemy, I would say. And that self-doubt is actually reflected in many fields of our life. First and foremost, the professional life, of course, but then in our parenthood and the relationship, that's that feeling of insufficient competence, that we are not good enough, that we are not a good partner, that we are not a good parent, that we are not even a good friend. So that's connected with that imposter syndrome, which you probably heard of a lot. Brent Brown is one of the authors who really did a tremendous work in that field. Then it reflects also in our appearance, in our body image, and later on you are still very young and you're not aware of it, but aging. And I don't know how it is in Pakistan, but in my country it is when women are over 40, they're already old, and they do not there are not many opportunities which are opening for them, even though they are in the best years when they can really utilize all the knowledge and experience they collected throughout their life. And of course, that self-doubt is very, very dangerous for our creative expression, because as a creative beings, we do not express ourselves if we are not free, and if we are afraid what the others will say. So because of that, we have enormous costs, and these costs reflect in all fields of our on our life. And additional problem is that women do not talk with each other about their own self-doubt. It is of course cultural, and in some cultures women are very interconnected and they talk a lot, but maybe they are not totally open, totally honest, let's say it in that way. But when we do not talk, and when we do not open ourselves to others, that we do not realize that other women have the same problem as we do have, and then we do not get the contra arguments from the other side to actually make us aware that we are perfect just as we are. We do not get support from other women, which is tremendously important. And we don't get a feedback, which is very important for the improvement of our ideas if we are for example, in entrepreneurship. And we do not get that feedback that other successful women whom we admire also have the same problem of the self-doubt. And you can be sure that if you can imagine any woman you admire at this very moment, that woman, if she is a speaker on the conferences, if she is constantly in the news and under the spotlight, you can be sure that women also have same self-doubt problems, and that she is afraid. And because it is a common, I would say, also the human characteristics to be afraid of, but women have that a little bit more a potency of less confidence. So why is that then? What are these costs? The costs are among our non-shared ideas, because we have many good ideas about what we can really do with our life and how we can improve our communities, how we can improve our family lives. This reflects in the not started businesses, and that's one of the reasons why nowadays investors are looking specifically for the female-run businesses, because it is an untapped potential. It is a potential of the women which have the ideas which are still not explored, and the necessities which are still not met. So that important questions are not raised. So this is maybe it is the most important in the politics, especially nowadays when we are looking the world politics, and if we see who runs the world and who are the superpowers, and it is very clear that we have when we have a female leaders, that their position is very different. I will talk a little bit later about it. Then we do not have insight into important topics and with second opinion about it topics, because we have, you know, different brains and the different approaches. It's all about diversity, unused talents. So as Hillary Clinton said, that the women are the biggest reservoir of untapped talent in the world, because if we know that we have like more than 50, closer to 60% of women with tertiary education, so with women graduates. And then if we look at the top of the companies, for example, and if it is like a world average, it's a 20% people, women on the board, then we see that there is a 40% gap of potential which is unused. It is the same works in entrepreneurship, because in the entrepreneurship is a huge problem is, for example, that there is the sourcing, and especially with the public sourcing, because based on the UN data, only 1% of public procurement sourcing and the big corporations sourcing goes to women-owned businesses. So we know how huge potential lies in that, and every country should work on it to change that ratio and to open possibilities for the women entrepreneurs. And what is the most important, actually, all of you who are here today with us are here probably because you are very ambitious and you would like to pursue your dreams, and you already experienced the joy of creating something new, and like being an entrepreneur, and you know what kind of joy comes with it, what kind of butterflies in your stomach are with you when you are creating something new. And if we miss that, we actually really miss that fulfillment and joy, and we lack that experience. So talking about women entrepreneurs, here is one example of women entrepreneur who created innovative baby strollers. Why women can make it better than men? Because it is obvious, right? It is women are better, and women have that experience more than men, because women spend more time with the babies than men. So they know what are the what's the missing in the design, and how design can be improved, and how that product can be more ergonomical and more adjusted to women needs. And that's the one of the reasons why investors are looking for the women projects, because they know that there are many unmet needs from the 50% of population. Because if we have mostly the projects which are financed and marketed out from the mostly male teens and dominantly male teens, we know that there are not women potential and the women ideas and women necessities, because all of you who have a background in marketing know that the marketing is all about recognizing the needs. Once when we recognize the need, then we can have a perfect product for that need. And it's of course that untapped potential for the economic growth worldwide. Historically, there were many women who already have a credit for many inventions. And here's, for example, one of them. Lillian Gilbert, which I spotted her relatively recently. She was organizational psychologist, and she was working with her husband. But at that time, so you can see that it was in the end of the 19th and the good part of the beginning of 20th century. when she was in that very propulsive and potential age. She couldn't be one who is signed under the inventions and the projects she did. Only her husband could have been, and she was not the only one. There were many women like that. And then when she realized that she cannot be a scientist, what she wanted to, she started to do inventions, because what she'd seen, she was in the kitchen and she realized that there are many possibilities to improve women's life in the kitchen. So for the most of the today known products we have in kitchen, she is responsible, because she made these inventions. You can dig deeper and research her. So we, with MAMFORCE, to give the credit to all these amazing women, we have started this online exhibition. So we are publishing it on a weekly basis, different women from science who are responsible for the most of what we have today. So speaking about the politics, you probably recognize Ms. Merkel. She is one of those whom we admire in European Union. I really like this picture, because this is the picture which shows like she is a woman in charge and she talks, and all these influential men, they are listening to her. So this is one of my favorites, and that's the reason why I have 2 times Ms. Merkel here. But these days we all are very aware about compassion and empathy of Miss Ardern from New Zealand Prime Minister, who really showed in many situations what does the female leadership mean and how it can be different, starting from the terrorist attack to the way he dealt with the COVID-19 crisis in the New Zealand, which became the Corona COVID-19 free country a few days ago. So she's really one who shows the way. I don't know whether you are aware of this lady, and she's Norwegian. She's a Prime Minister of Norway. And they also dealt very specifically and differently with the COVID-19 crisis. But what she did differently, she organized a press conference for kids, because kids, during this pandemic, which we are all going through, they're really concerned, and they do not all the parents know how to transfer the messages and how to calm their kids and how to say that everything will be okay. So she organized the press conference only for kids, to give them all the answers they might have about the pandemic with which we are dealing. Then talking about climate change, so it is that huge wave which is above all us. Women are very important, and women leaders and women should be on the table to talk about the climate change issues. Because why? Because women are not so concentrated about the profit and profitability. Women are more aware about the wider social impact of any decision which might have consequences. So that's all the reasons why we need all this, why we need women, and why we need you to be among this the women today and in any time in the future. But what stops us? What stops us? It's I like to call it. It's like the sleeping card on the at the edge of our comfort zone. So whenever we are, we like to be in our comfort zone. It is a very convenient place. And whenever we start, with our elbows that we would like to go out from that. Whenever we contemplate change, when we start to follow our callings and our dreams, whenever we try something new, when we test our old beliefs which we inherited from our upbringing, and when we play big means that we are visible, that we are not invisible, but we really have very ambitious goals which we would like to achieve, then this guard is coming out. It's like self-doubt awakening and security instinct, and he awakes and he said, no, you should stay within your familiar comfort zone. And it stops us, and it creates a panic, and it criticizes us. And then we step back and we said, okay, I will listen to them, I'm not so sure. So that's something what we have to change. And here is I have one exercise for you, which I would like you to make. It is how to deal with our self-doubt and concerns. So I would like you to ask to first write it down on your paper, then later on you will put it on Slido so we can share it together. Write down 3 concerns which you have, so what is your self-doubt or your concerns? Draw for yourself, you will not share it with us, draw these 3 circles, like control circle, influence, and out of your control. And then choose for each of your concerns what level of control do you have over it. Can you control this? If you can control it, then put it in a circle. Can you influence it? Then put it in a outer circle. And if it's nothing you can do about it, then put it out of your control. And write your concerns in the circles. But I'm very curious to see what your concerns are. So I would really beg you to share it on Slido. I will open the new cloud there so we can share it. Right. So write down your 3 concerns. So it is the same hashtag, it's slido.com. It's a hashtag 36497. Anybody? I see some tremendous questions you asked. I'm looking forward to answer to that, but we will go one step at a time. Well, great. So I'm going to share with you So, concerns. The concerns we have for now are family and kids or career. Yeah, it is a very common and a very, very powerful concern. I can tell you that we can have all, but with a good organization of our life, and then with inclusion of our partners, because the kids are not only our responsibility, but it's a partnership. Incompetency, yeah, women, it's about that self-doubt problem, that we feel incompetent, even though we are very competent, we are great students, we have sufficient knowledge, but we do not believe ourselves, and we always think that others are better than we are. But it is wrong, and it is something which we should get rid of. Financial provider of my family. It is I'm not sure that I follow it, so maybe if you can write it in a chat so we can discuss it later. That if you are like a main, that your concern is that you are main breadwinner of your family, so you have additional responsibility. So if that is it, you're not alone in it. There are many women who are breadwinners, and it is doable. It is doable to go through it. Not being able to find the path. Yeah, you should listen your inner voice. We will see a short movie in the end. I hope that it will be helpful. What if I fail to not have a plan B? So after 20 years of experience, which I have, and being an experimental psychologist, which is, we always like to plan everything in life, I can tell you that after 20 years, I became very spiritual. And there is always some plan for us, but we just should listen. We just should be really let us listen to that voice which guides us. Family incompetency, typical society. Concern, typical society. It is like a cultural, if it is about the cultural norms, yeah, we should get rid about the norms, and we should follow our own path, because the norms serve to the norms serve to keep the status quo, and we do not want, as ambitious women, we do not want the status quo. We want to make a change. And family is a concern. Yeah, it is a responsibility, but we should find a way how to balance both. It was my life story is about the work-life balance and the family. So great, thank you very much. Let's go back to finish our presentation. So your task is actually now to put it in circles and to know, to realize what you can control and what you can influence and what is out of your control. So what I have seen from your answers, I would say that everything you have put inside is within your control and within your influence. You just have to find a way how to handle it. Okay. Maybe I can rather skip it. This is about how we should get rid about self-doubt. I'm taking time, I mind the time which we have. I would really like to answer your questions. There was one of the questions about the mentors and what are women, do we need female mentors? Yeah, I personally think that we really need role models, and that we can't be what we can see. So we need women role models, but what is more important of it, it's the power of imagination. So we cannot be what we cannot imagine. It's actually the new mantra, and please try to stick to it, because it really depends whether you can have a good female leader, because not all nowadays female leaders are maybe not good role models for you. Maybe it's not what you aspire to and what you would like to become. I can tell you from my experience that most of the women who were in a position to be my mentors actually were very under the cultural norms, and they adjusted to the cultural norms, and I didn't want that. I wanted something different. So for me, it was not a good choice actually to choose them as my role model. So you always should think about what kind of feedback you are getting, and when you are getting, what are the motives of that person. You should always find your way, and this is the power of imagination is the most important. And here's one illustration which you are maybe familiar with, but that attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference. So it really depends how what we see in a mirror every day when we wake up. So women are very reliant on criticism and praise, and this is a model which I took from Tara Moore, which I would suggest to any woman to read her book. It's Playing Big. I went through her. I'm a facilitator of her program with the same name, and it is something what every girl should be learned starting from the kindergarten. So for women, there are many obstacles, we keep to the good relationships because we were always dependent on someone, on a father, on a brother, on a mother. So we were not independent historically. It changes, but that change is very slow. Then we are more aware of the people's reactions, and then because we are aware, sometimes we will not tell something because we will be afraid how they will react, while other people maybe will not have problems with that. And it is a part of the it is good to have emotionally intelligent in that way, but not to stick to it and not to allow it to prevent us from taking a bigger and more important steps. Then the importance of being liked in society. Yeah, we are very like to be likable. It's a matter of likability, and there are many research which shows that it is a trap for the women. Then that fear of personal attacks. We do not want to expose ourselves because somebody can make an attack on us. It doesn't have to be physical, it can be verbal. But here what I maybe would like to share with you, if you have opinion and if you believe in it, there will always be 50% of people who agree with you and 50% of people who disagree with you. So maybe to make one exercise for yourself, go to Amazon and choose one author and a book which you really admire and who is like that. He or she is the author, and then go to the review section, and you will see that there are many 5 stars, but that there are also many 2 stars, 1 stars, and 3 stars. So you should be, if you are fall for something, and if you believe in something, and especially if you are a change maker, you should be prepared to that there will be people who disagree with you. One of the big problems is that good girls conditioning. We are good students, we are good in schools, and we are conditioned to be good through our upbringing and our education, and then we take it later with us in a life. And workplace is not classroom. The workplace is a jungle. So we should be prepared more for the jungle environment and not for the classroom. So what I want to say you that we have the power to transform the seed in this beautiful oak tree, and each and every of you is the oak seed. And it really depends on you how much humidity you will add, how much water, how much sun, and in which soil you are going to put it. And I believe that everyone can rise to the beautiful, beautiful oak seed. Why is it important for the society, for yourself and for society? It is important because, you know, we men and women, we have a different approaches, because we have a different brains and a different different parts of the brains are differently developed, and we need it both. We need 50% of everything. It means that maybe some decisions will be harder to come to, but they will be more. They will be better. They will be better for everyone. So it is that old story about diversity and inclusion. And there was one of the questions about how to be among the mostly men-dominated society. Yeah, we are changing it. It is a slow process, but we are changing it. And what I also would like to you to remember, that you should think and play big. And what is that play big? It is something what every single of you know for yourself. It's your call, your dream, your talent, your creativity, your contribution, whatever. It can be personal, it can be professional. What is important that if you play big and you think big, you really should be able and have to be able to leave the herd. You know, you cannot stay within the same herd which you were raised with, and you should be loyal to your own dreams. And here I have one short movie to show you. I hope so that you will hear that.
I never wanted to live without some kind of...
Did I share it? No, I didn't share it. Sorry. Now I will share it.
I never wanted to live without some kind of affirmation, some kind of collective feedback. And maybe that's why my early movies were all about you. My early movies were all soliciting you, making you my partners, thinking about you behind the camera, thinking what would turn you on, what would get you excited, what would make you laugh, what would make you scream. How could I create suspense out of whole cloth when that darn shark never worked? And you were my partners, my audience. You know, I collaborated with you and you collaborated with me, and I think the beginning of my career I had this wonderful experience, and the thing I really want to emphasize is I didn't have a choice. I didn't have a choice. When you have a dream, and the dream isn't something you dream and then it happens, the dream is something you never knew was going to come into your life. Dreams always come from behind you, not right between your eyes. It sneaks up on you. But when you have a dream, it doesn't often come at you screaming in your face, this is who you are, this is what you must be for the rest of your life. Sometimes a dream almost whispers. And I've always said to my kids, the hardest thing to listen to, your instincts, your human personal intuition, always whispers, it never shouts. Very hard to hear. So you have to, every day of your lives, be ready to hear what whispers in your ear. It very rarely shouts. And if you can listen to the whisper, and if it tickles your heart, and it's something you think you want to do for the rest of your life, then that is going to be what you do for the rest of your life, and we will benefit from everything you do. Thank you very much.
So I love this guy, and just a second.
I mean, to want and to be ambitious.
Okay. So I really love him, and if you have seen what he said, listen to your voice, and it whispers. It doesn't shout, and it's something what is just it is I will would like to share that screen. It doesn't shout, it whispers. So that is important for ourselves to remember, that we should listen to that. We should listen to that voice. That's about our call, and we all have that call. And for me personally, it took me it took me almost 15 years of my professional career, okay, like 13 years, to come to my real call. But once when I found it, I really enjoy every single second of my work. But everything what I did before that benefits my present career. So be brave and listen to your voice and play big. So that's what I had to say. And now we have the Q&A, and Cynia will probably, you can, yes, please stay in touch. You can follow me on Instagram, Dianna K, and MAMFORCE.hr. And yeah, I will be very happy to stay in touch with you guys. So Cynia, I'm open for the questions.
Thank you so much, Dianna. That was actually very insightful. And I'm actually really glad that it was very interactive. So you posted a lot of questions and we had some very interesting answers coming in, which tells us a lot about the mindset of women in Pakistan and what we are thinking about as well. We have some really interesting questions as well. So I think I'm just going to go and dive into our Q&A section. One question is on the women mentors, as you mentioned during your talk as well. So the question is from Mahnoor and Javeria both, of how important it is to have a role of a women mentor to help in the growth of individuals.
Yeah, I think I'm personally also in mentoring, and I've seen how important mentoring process is. But it is actually it is important to have a mentor. But I would say that not mentors are meant to be mentors. So what I said during my presentation is that you really should be very careful about what you are taking from your mentor, because mentor can give you her or his experience, and it does not have to be your experience. You just take it and think about it and take what is relevant for you. So it is, the mentor is someone, you know, who is not there, someone who is telling you what to do, but it is just someone who facilitates the process and let you to take your own decisions. And what I would say from my experience, I would say that it is equally important to have women and a male mentor, you know, and I will always opt for both options. So if you have a chance to have both, go for both. And all of us, we always need mentors. So it is, you know, in this stage of your career, you should have one mentor, but then later on you can have a different. So yeah, always. And don't be afraid to ask, you know, ask someone whom you admire, ask, would you like to be, can I ask you to be my mentor? I mean, only at least to meet for a coffee, you know, meet for a coffee for one day. It doesn't have like in several sessions, but just something short. Okay.
This leads to a follow-up question. How do you know what sort of, especially in the case of having a woman or a female mentor on board, how do you think it's possible for you to recognize which person is the best match for you as a woman?
Yeah, I would say, yeah, here, what I usually do, these mentoring programs with the corporations, and then they are doing this matchmaking. Either it is someone who is actually very competent in the field you would like to develop your competence, or it is someone who has a lifestyle, position, a way of communicating which you admire. So it is someone whom you actually whom you perceive that you can learn something from that person. So I would not say that it is just try, you know, it is a trial and error process. So don't be afraid about that.
All right. Our next question is from Aisha Khan. She's asking, what are some of the best qualities in women that they should focus on in order to thrive?
Yeah, it is a great question. Thank you, Aisha, for question. Thank you, Aisha, for that question. Yeah, you know what is one of the biggest mistakes which women usually do? They are always trying to present their competence. We are all competent, you know, we are educated, we have a sufficient experience, but competence does not make us closer to people. And what we are good at, we are actually good at warmth. We are empathic, we are compassionate, and we are feminine. And what women do, if they are trying to present themselves as a competent, then they are entering more in the man's field, and they are becoming a man. And that's something what we would like to change with this so-called third feminist revolution. Is actually we would like to guide in a feminine way. As Jacinda Ardern, which I mentioned, the New Zealand Prime Minister, is a perfect example for that. Just think about that people will remember you first by your warmth. So whenever you're in a position for the first contact and the halo effect, be warm and be feminine and leave something personal to that people, and then they will recall you and they will be open for the cooperation for you later on.
Okay. We have another, I hope I'm pronouncing the name correctly. It's Jelena Cabral. She's saying, as a wife, how can we sharing time for work and caring for the family? Because in my country, a lot of husbands want their wives to just stay at home and take care of his children. Yeah.
I have to admit that we have a partially different cultures, even though the part of the world where I'm coming from also had these atavisms of that traditional culture, I would say, and there are many regions in our country where it's also expected from women to stay at home and take care about the kids, but it is a matter of partnership, and it is a matter of negotiation. And I don't know what is the specific personal situation of the lady girl who has the question, but what I would always go for the open talk with my partner, with my husband or whatever, argumenting why it is good for our family that we have two incomes at least. You know, it is a matter of two incomes. It is a matter of better prospects for our kids, because we can provide them better quality of life, we can provide them a better education, and we can have a richer and a better life. So it is a really matter, you know, in these traditional settings, it is important, and also to make them aware that if we have a two earners family, then it is not so their responsibility to be the breadwinners for the family, the primary breadwinners, because the life would be easier for them as well. So that would be my goal, you know, in this specific situation.
All right, that's a good answer. Dianna, we have two more questions before we conclude. So the first one is from Elizabeth. She's asking, how can we become better leaders as women, especially in a country where most leaders are of the opposite sex?
I partially answered that question with this warmth. I think that we should lead in a feminine way, and that we should find a way to present us as a female emotional leaders, because if we are going with that competence, then they perceive us as a threat for them. And there are a lot of these unconscious biases, you know. It is not that that all these men are actually against women. Of course they are not. Me, by myself, I working with, I work with the top management, and then when I surround them with the data, that they see, oh, there are only like 10 main managers, and we do not have women anymore. But like it was not before like that. We had women, and then when they realize, they are very open for the change. So I think that we are living today that we have a much more better position today than we had 10 or 20 years ago, and that we should utilize that chance, especially also you in Pakistan.
That's true. Our last question is from Rachel Dawson. She's basically saying, what in your opinion are some ways women can break glass ceilings and stand out in corporate jobs?
Yeah, there are many ways. First, they should not remain silent. They should not be the good girls who are not presenting themselves and just doing, the precise, perfect work and the perfect presentations which will be presented somewhere there, and not showing up. It is very important, to play these corporate games and to be present. It is not easy, because there are closed male clubs. They are doing some sports together. They are going for drinks together. I believe it is the same in Pakistan, like all over the world. But there are ways, and what is the especially important, that women support other women. Women should also, like there are male clubs. So why you don't have your office colleagues, and the women who can support you and open, and then there are good tactics which women then use in workplaces that they support, because we are reluctant to self-promotion. So we do not like to self-promote ourselves, but then we agree with our female colleagues and our female friends that we will support each other and that we will promote each other. So when Cynia do something great, then Elizabeth will say, oh guys, did you see what the tremendous work Cynia did? And then we will applaud to Cynia. So it's the way how women can support the other women. So, but I would say, within this short time frame which we have, show up and power speak and present your warmth. Do not present first your competence, and it is a better to be done than perfect. So do not lose your time on the perfection. Apply maybe design thinking approach and the way how you will be remembered, and not how you will create a perfect presentation to present to your bosses.
All right, thank you. That's it for the questions. I believe we had a very engaging session, Dianna. Thank you so much for taking out time from your afternoon for us this evening. I'm really excited about this because this is the first time, as I mentioned, that we're involving women from all across the world into our initiative. So I'm really happy that we launched this program with you. And of course, I feel our people in the audience, they can definitely reach out to Dianna. She shared her profile as well. So if you have any other questions for her, if you would like to reach out, she runs women leadership modules as well. So if that's something that you would like to discuss with her about, you can. And Dianna, thank you. We really hope we could have hosted you better over a cup of coffee or tea here in Pakistan. But if that's not the case, we really are from Teamup. We would really like to thank you for joining us and delivering the session and the webinar today.
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting me, and I really enjoyed this call. And yeah, we had like this virtual coffee and the cookies. So this is this new normal, new way of working and living. So yeah, thank you very much.
So thank you, and we hope to do this again some days in the future as well. Thank you for joining in.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Take care, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. Khuda Hafiz. Bye bye.